So most importantly, you want to start with a sharp knife, especially with perch. Their hides are really quite tough. If you're doing quite a few perch, I recommend stopping every few fish just to re-sharpen your knife basically. I'm just using the Chef's Choice sharpener here, so real nice and easy. You've got the honing blade on number 1, so just do a few passes through that. Then you've got your finishing blade on number 2. Just do a couple passes through that, and you'll have it nice and razor sharp. So what you want to do when you're first starting off is you've got the anal gland at the bottom of the back of the fish here towards the tail. You just want to basically make yourself kind of a guiding cut. So you're just going to kind of cut up here. If you were planning on transporting fish back, typically I would gut these things out fully. Actually, I've got a little bit of an interesting thing to show you here. One of the nice things about gutting out fish and checking their stomach contents is you'll find out exactly what they're feeding on. So that gives you a really good idea of what you should be using if you want to catch more of them. So for instance, in this guy's stomach contents, I can see big crayfish in here. I can feel them coming out and everything too. So I know that this guy was eating crayfish, so if I wanted to catch more of them, using any lures that imitate crayfish would be a really good idea. Guaranteed that they're going to be biting on those. So anyways, first thing you're going to do is you're going to lift up both the pectoral fin and the fin just below it here. You're going to get your knife so it's going in towards the head. And all you're going to do is basically cut at an angle in. So you're getting through the hides a little bit tough on these perch. Then you're going to cut down until you get towards your guiding cut here. Once you've got that cut in, just put a little bit of pressure down until you feel it make contact with the spine. All you're going to do is then flip your knife back so it's heading or pointing towards the tail. I'll normally just kind of put my thumb in his gills so I've got something to hold on to. And all you're going to do is just kind of gently saw back and forth. You're going to feel yourself going through each individual rib, and the spine's just going to guide your knife straight back. Once you got it so it's almost all the way through, I like to stop at the tail here, and you can flip it over. You got a little handle to hold on here. So cut in till you feel yourself hit the hide. It's going to stop. The hide's quite a bit tougher. And all you're going to do is just run your knife. Oh, pushed in a little bit too hard on this guy. He's a little bit frozen, so he's not working quite as well as anticipated. And all you're going to do is just, gently saw with your knife blade pointing back towards the head. And you'll see it cleans all the meat off the hide. There's nothing left on there. So with perch, they are quite small bodied. You can see if you run your knife back here, all these ribs are going to stand up, so you can see really easily where you want to make your incision. All you're going to do is just make a gentle cut first of all, just to kind of have your knife a place to go, just going around the ribs. And then the next time, you're just going to angle your knife kind of back towards you. And just let the knife kind of follow the ribs on through. Not a whole pile of meat off them, but that's completely boneless. There's a tiny bit of meat left on the ribs. It's usually not worth trying to salvage that. This guy, unfortunately, we broke his ribs, so it's a little bit more difficult. So same thing, lift up your pectoral fin and the fin just below it. Get your knife underneath, in towards the head. As soon as you hit your spine, you just want to stop and then cut down so you meet your previous guide hole here. You're just going to angle your knife back towards the tail. You can just grab them either in the gills or where you've just cut open basically. Nice and gentle all the way back. Just let the spine guide your knife basically. Stop when you get back towards the tail. Flip it over. Push in. And the same thing, run your knife back so your ribs are going to stand up here. Make a little bit of a guiding cut. Just angle your knife in towards you and just run it back. Unfortunately, not a whole pile of meat off of a perch, but that's all good meat. It's all 100% boneless as well. Perch and walleye, for the most part, if you're cooking them the same, not many people are even going to be able to tell the difference between one or the other. Northern pike will typically have a little bit more of a fishier taste to them. If you're catching them through the winter months, they can be quite good. It still is always recommended to keep the smaller, not necessarily the smallest fish, but about the mid-range. So for walleye, I'd really only recommend keeping them between 2 and 3 pounds. For perch, typically kind of right around that 1 pound mark is kind of ideal. And with pike, you really only want to keep them basically between 4 pounds and about 7 pounds. Anything over that, you're taking good breeding stock out of the lake. Anything smaller than that, you're just not getting enough meat for being worthwhile taking an animal's life. So.
Thanks for your time, Jon.
No problem.